My husband cheated on me with my mom, and that's not even the worst part. Welcome to today's stories. Before we start, please make sure to subscribe our channel for more videos and help us to reach 2K subscribers. It's the mother of all betrayals. Mum's the word for most unfaithful folks entangled in an extramarital affair with a hot young fling. But this double-crossed divorcee says her cheating hubby went with mom instead. This is the story about how I found out about my husband at the time and my mom having an affair. Interior designer Lacey Jane, from Indianapolis, Indiana, revealed to a stunned cyber audience of over 2.7 million TikTok viewers. The backstabbed blonde explained that the reprehensible hanky-panky between her man and her mom occurred 14 years ago, shortly after she'd given birth to her daughter and was stricken with severe health issues. Jane did not immediately respond to the post's request for a comment. "My mom was living with us. She was staying down in the basement," she said in the cringeworthy clip. "But after several months, she ended up renting a house that was like a block away from us. And my husband and her carpooled to work together." The millennial admitted that she was suspicious of the unlikely pair's connection. The mounting concern sparked a fiery contention with her spouse, who Jane chose not to name for privacy purposes, causing them to separate. He moved into the mother's rental property, and mom moved in with Jane and her newborn. "While she was living with me, we started to get close," confessed the deceived darling. "She started telling me about all these times he was cheating on me with all of these different women. And she made me promise not to tell him that I heard it from her," added Jane, who initially agreed to protect her mother amid their marital mayhem. However, she was ultimately too infuriated by the heartbreaking bombshell to keep it under wraps. "I got in my car, sped out of there, and I went to go confront him," she recalled. "I said, 'Hey, my mom said that you've been cheating on me this entire time,'" remembered Jane. "And he looked me square in the eyes and he said, 'Well, why don't she tell you what her and I have been doing?'" A crestfallen Jane immediately returned home to question her mother, whose complexion had turned white with spooked guilt. "I got out of my car and said, 'I need you to pack your bags and get the FK out of my house,'" she said as her mom feigned complete ignorance to the indecent infraction. In her state of panic, she said, "Your grandmother knew about all of this, and I'm gonna call her." You'll see," said Jane, who coldly retorted with, "You know what you've done." Her mother ultimately copped to holding hands with the husband, but denied ever engaging in a full-blown affair. But Jane, who equated her mom's flimsy protest of innocence to a glaring admission of culpability, said their low-down and dirty dalliance wasn't the most egregious offense. Instead, it was being kept in the dark about the inappropriate conduct by the matriarch and patriarch of her family. "This entire time, my grandparents, who are like my world, who were there for me my entire life when no one else was. They knew that him and my mom were at least holding hands. And no one told me," Jane lamented. As the moldy cherry on top of her sourly sordid saga, Jane said her unapologetic mother later attempted to boot her out and onto the streets. "She tried to take my house from me," the heartbroken belle said. As a now single mom with failing health issues, with no job, no career, nothing. Unfortunately, Jane's messy mama drama isn't all that unique. In fact, in November, an Idaho mom of two named Catherine virally claimed that her husband cheated on her with her own mother, and revealed that it was her grandmother who told her about the affair. Later that month, an anonymous woman took to Reddit's ever-trending "Am I the A-hole?" forum, alleging that her mother-in-law was guilty of committing emotional incest with her husband. Luckily for Jane, an overflow of good came out of her bad breakup. "I started a non-profit, where we build tiny homes for single moms," she said, crediting the tragedy for inspiring her charity work. "It's what started all of this, because of the betrayal, not having a home. My safety and security net being ripped apart and shredded, and not having anyone in my support system," said Jane. "Amazing things can come out of horrible things."